Fellas, how's it going? How you doing? How is everyone here? Welcome. This is Goodwood University, and we're talking about what we always do around here. We're talking about men's sexual health, the things you need to know to get better each and every time. We're going to be doing something special today because we got it set up. We got it set up. We have a call-in number. You can actually call in and you can talk. That's something I've been wanting to do for a while because it's really important to. For I have these conversations all the time, and it's always I learn something, and I think you would get something out of it too, just from hearing. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different story, a different path, and it's important that we hear from each other to get inspired, to get more information. And oh, by the way, my name is Brian, aka Uncle B. I'm the men's performance coach with Goodwood, and today we're going to be talking about erections and aging and what you can do to make sure you don't have any issues when it comes down to that, because really it is important that you know what to do beforehand, what you can do to prevent it, because it's called penile atrophy. Yeah, that's a real thing. Penile atrophy. Basically, you start shrinking as you get older, and there's some things you can do to avoid that. And we want to make sure you have that information. And if you could, go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and notification bell, so we can get some more of this information to you. And oh, by the way, you can go into the chat. Go ahead and leave your name, where you're representing, and if you have any questions, go for it. Hit me up there, and I'll have the number up in a second, and you'll be able to give me a call. Shout out to everybody who's already here, but let's go ahead and get into it, because when we're talking about aging and what you need to know, especially as you get older, your body changes. A lot of things changes, and one of the things that you need to know is that your nitric oxide, it's called nitric oxide, it can get cut by half by the time you're 40. Yeah. And we're going to dig into that, why nitric oxide is so super important, why you need to know about it, and specifically we're going to talk about how it affects your body and how to get more of it. And that's what you want. You want more nitric oxide in your life, because it's really important to unlock the power of that nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a molecule that produced naturally by your body, and it's important for many aspects of your sexual health. And part of that's because, nitric oxide, like a lot of other things in your body, it decreases as you get older. So it's important to keep it up. It's because in your 40s, we lose more than half of our nitric oxide levels since the age of 20, which results in lower energy, hypertension, poor circulation, decreased physical performance. All of those things are happening in your body. Oh, and your penis at the same time. And so it's really important to understand what is going on, because it's the most important function in vasodilation, meaning it relaxes the inner muscles of the blood vessels, causing them to widen and increase that circulation. And nitric oxide production is essential for overall health because it allows for blood flow, nutrients, and oxygen to travel to every part of your body efficiently and effectively. So all of that's really important. So nitric oxide also lowers LDL cholesterol, which reduces plaque buildup in the blood vessels, dilates blood flow. Dilates blood vessels, and reduces, and this is really important, blood platelet stickiness. Yep. Because nitric oxide has a high half-life of just 1 millisecond. So this is really interesting. This is really new in terms of the science of our bodies, because we know about the heart. The heart is constantly pumping. If our heart's not pumping, we have major issues. But it's not just your heart pumping that gets the blood flowing through your body. It's also the fact that you have nitric oxide. So all throughout all the layers inside of your blood vessels, inside the layers of your blood vessels, that's where nitric oxide has come from. It's the endothelia is on the inside of your blood vessels, and nitric oxide is basically just pushing, just a half-second push, a millisecond push of the blood through it. So it's not just your heart pumping through the millions of miles, well, not millions, but thousands of miles of blood vessels in your body, but it's also the nitric oxide that's moving the blood flow through. So nitric oxide production is essential for that blood flow and everything else that you need to have. Because if you don't Yeah, that is a lot. You're going to increase it by 20% in just 45 minutes. When it comes to other foods, garlic, 40% increase in nitric oxide levels in 1 hour after consumption. So yeah, you want to get your beets in, you got 45 minutes. You want to get your garlic in, you get 1 hour. When you got your leafy greens, we're talking about that spinach, that Swiss chard, arugula, cabbage, kale, alga, spirulina, all high in nitrates. Yeah, that's why that vegetarian lifestyle is, yeah, if you want to keep your erections good, it's helpful. Nuts and seeds, particularly walnuts and flax seeds, are very high in arginine. So all of that counts. To have this in your life. Yep. So when it comes to, if you're dealing with aging, as you should, you want to live as long as possible. You want to be as healthy as possible. You want to make sure you're having all of that taken care of. J10H, hey, what's going on with you, sir? Uh-huh. Ah, man. My man. Appreciate it. Hey, young, it's been a minute since I tuned in. Wanted to express my thanks for the tips and all the work. I've cracked it. Ooh, what happened, man? What happened? The diet and training works, but relaxing your mind in the moment is priceless. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Oh, bruh. You are preaching to the choir. You preaching to the Pope. Oh man, that stress can really mess with your that's what I really was about to say. Chronic stress and insufficient sleep severely limit nitric oxide production. So if you're having issues with weight loss, that could be a factor because of that stress, because you're not getting that sleep, you're not getting that nitric oxide production. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. uh Yeah, my man said I'm 32, but I learned my lessons. I ain't playing no more. Uh-huh. Good idea. Good idea. I wish I knew this stuff earlier. My daggone self would have saved a whole bunch of issues and situations. So yeah, that sleep is a way nitric oxide producing bacteria. So when you breathe in, you're actually producing nitric oxide, especially if you're doing like a humming, just that actually vibrates inside of your mouth, and it's actually the bacteria in there is producing nitric oxide. But when you drink mouthwash, you're actually washing all of that stuff away. So you have to be extremely careful with that. Uh-huh. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and put the number up. We do have the capability of taking phone calls now, and that's what I want to do. I want to hear from you. So we can get some information in. Oh, and by the way, if you just joined us, my name is Brian, aka Uncle B, the men's performance coach with Goodwood. You can go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because today we're talking about something that you may not be worried about right now, but you should. That's aging. That's making sure that you are functioning well as you get older, because if you're not paying attention, you're going to run into some issues. Because Uh, Let me see. My sound still there? Is my sound still there? If you cannot hear me, let me know in the comment section. Looks like okay. Looks like a back. All right, cool. So yes, indeed. So that's what we have right there, guys. When we're talking about that aging and everything like that. If you want to get some answers to some questions you have right now, we do have the number up 202-630-3045. This is the format that we're going to have from now on, so that if you have questions, you can go ahead and hit me up there, and we can just get that conversation going. Above and beyond and forever, Mel repping Tampa in the house. Appreciate you, man. Um, so yeah, it's really interesting, man. One of the things that I've been going through for the past 3 weeks, my mother had a fake stroke, if you will, a fake mini stroke. So I'm literally in the hospital. My mother's laying there, standing there next to my sister, across from the doctor. And the doctor said, "Yes, your mother had a stroke," and everything like that. Kind of found out it was not a stroke. They couldn't figure out exactly what it was. She functioned like she had a stroke. I know what that looks like because I have an uncle who had a stroke, and you could see, all the symptoms. Everything was there, but she, thank the Lord, popped out of it. However, one of the things that had to happen, of course, is that she had to go to a rehab because there were issues with her leg, and she just being older, she needed to get some things taken care of. And I'm gonna tell you right now, what you do not want to do with your life is end up in one of these old folks' places. It's scary. It not only is it scary from the standpoint of being there and seeing all the other people who are sick, and one of the ladies who was in a room with my mother before my mother changed rooms, all this other kind of stuff. Oh my goodness, this lady was just laying there. I mean, just laying there. You could hear the, she had a Darth Vader machine going all day, all night, and I'm not exaggerating. She literally was just like the entire time. That was it. The entire time that she was, I think it was like a whole week. Every time she had some family visiting, stuff like that. Guys, do not get sick. Do whatever it takes. Get your routine going. Pay attention. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button. All the things that you need to do to make sure that you are taking care of your health. Because the alternative, one of the things that Mr. Kevin Samuels, may he rest in power, would always say is, what is it? Buy a dog and die alone. The issue is that that dying alone part is a long process. It's a long process, and it's not something that's very simple. Where it's like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to pass one day, just pass in my sleep. That's not the way it works. The way it typically works is that you're going to have an illness. The dog is going to die before you do, and you're going to be too ill to be able to get another dog and walk the dog. And then if something traumatic happens and you end up in one of these places, it's easy for your family to, just move on with life. It's, my mother's there, we're thinking about her and everything, but it's like, hey, we got jobs. My sister got a job. I'm taking care of business. My brother's in another town. Fortunately, my father is able to be there for her. But a lot of people don't have that. So, but just being in there, and the fact that they are there to use you when you're in the old folks home, when you're in that system. Oh man, they are good with the drugs. Oh man, you have the best drug dealers in the world. Oh, some of the drug dealers are cute too. But they coming in every morning. My mother was like, yeah, they come in, they change their shift around 7 a.m., something like that. And the first thing they do, they come in with the medicine. And the interesting thing is, my mother has diabetes and she got the sugar. And they are giving her pudding, angel food cake. I'm like, hold up. She's in a hospital. I don't care. They're like, oh, was people being upset or stressed? You're at that point. You are stressed. Your body is stressed. She's recovering from a fake Stroke. She already has issues. Plus, she was laying still for days at a time, which, if you have weight issues, the first thing that goes is your legs, and she has knee issues to begin with. So it just makes the situation worse. Guys, you do not want to get yourself into a situation where you're older and you're laying there in the hospital because they are going to feed you whatever you want. They brought my mother a hamburger. What are you doing feeding a hamburger? Let's break this down real quick. She has diabetes. One of the causes of diabetes is high meat consumption. One of the effects of diabetes is that your glucose is always staying high with the insulin, et cetera, et cetera. So there's sugar in the hamburger bun. There's sugar in the ketchup. Hopefully they didn't put mayonnaise on there. And so they're basically giving you the perfect recipe for diabetes. And what do they end up giving her? Diabetes medication. Is that hamburger going to help with her high blood pressure? No. You have to be very careful, guys, when it comes down to your own personal health, because the medical system isn't looking out for you. They're there to make money, and they are good. What they set you up. All right. Hey, what's going on, C? Good to see you again. Jacksonville, Florida, in the house. I see you right there, Mel. Got to get off the sugar due to diabetes running on both sides of my family. Woo, yeah. One of the things about diabetes is not only is it, being prone to it just genetically, but also a lot of times we're inheriting the food, the things that we tend to celebrate. I remember growing up, Fridays was payday. So, I mean, I'm a kid. I wasn't paying attention. But Fridays, for whatever reason, we got the Popeyes, we got the pizzas. That was I don't know, call it junk food evening. But it was something that carried over for me, into adulthood. It was like, oh, it's Friday. It's time to go and just splurge for whatever reason. It was, it was just something I grew up with. So you have to be very careful with that. LJ, what's going on? Great question. Let me go ahead and break that down. Does being in your 40s affect your ability to get an erection via thought? Like your 20s and 30s. I call that having an erection on demand. That's where I'm just thinking of something and there you go. Have an erection. And yes, there is a big difference in that. So basically, as you get older, your testosterone levels are going down 1% per year. And bursting and burning of testosterone is what fuels an erection. So you need your testosterone there and you need your blood flow there. And that's what we've been talking about today. The nitric oxide affects your ability to get the blood flow. So the more nitric oxide you have, because you're exercising, you're eating fruits and vegetables, the more blood flow you're going to have, the easier it is to get an erection. And then, just from a biomechanical standpoint, basically you have testosterone just leaving out of your brain and sending signals down to your testes, where the most of your testosterone is that's the whole connection to create an erection. If you don't have enough testosterone, doesn't matter how much you're thinking about it, if you're down there, it's not the same. So as you get older, the testosterone levels are going down, and it is definitely going to have an effect on your erections, not your elections, but your erections. Got you, bro. But that's a great question, because that is the part that, this whole subject is about. It's about what happens when you do not take care of yourself over a long period of time. And this is a thing that, when I do coaching, I talk to guys about the micro and the macro. The micro is really just what you do day to day. It's because you eat. It's like what you eat, how you exercise, things like that. That's the micro, because that should be happening, especially with your exercise every day. Well, not every day, but you get my point. You should have your routine. The macro is the big thing. And the macro is, as you age, in your 20s, there's certain things that happen. In your 30s, there's certain things that happen. 40s, 50s, and 60s. Just to give you the numbers and how this works, 40% of men over 40 have erection issues. 50% of men over 50 60% of men over 60, 70% of men over 70, 80% of men over 80. It makes sense that as you get older, if you're looking at a mass of men, that some men are just not going to have their erections being able to be carried over the older they get. So it's really important that you understand that whole concept, because around here, this is what I say, guys. You have to work harder every year. Yeah. Every week, every day. But when it comes to your health, always say that, from age 0 to roughly 20, 21, you get all the energy coming from your body. The XY chromosome from your dad and the egg cell from your mom got together, and here you are with all this energy. And after 21, it starts, you better take care of yourself. And as you get older, I've even heard things such as, as you get older, you should fast for like a day for every year that you're alive. Obviously, if you're 60, you're fasting for 60 days. That's sort of insane. But the idea, and maybe not days in a row, but the idea is that as you get older, one of the things that fasting does is actually increase your endothelia. So your endothelia is going to increase your nitric oxide. Your nitric oxide is going to increase your blood flow. Your blood flow is going to increase your erection size and erection strength. So all of this stuff flows together. When you're younger, you have, in your 20s, your endothelia, that thin layer that's in all of your blood vessels throughout your entire body. If you laid it all out, it would cover 20 tennis courts. By the time you're in your 50s, it's covering a couple of tennis courts. So this is something that just naturally happens as you get older. That layer is disappearing, and so your ability to have more blood flow starts going down. What also affects your endothelia is foods, especially when it comes to meats. Now, once again, I'm not a meat hater. I'm just letting you know. If you're consuming meat, what ends up happening is it sticks. It'll stick to the side of the blood vessels, and it'll tear into the endothelia. And so it'll just sit there and start clumping up. And so we talked about the LDL cholesterol earlier. That's where it starts sticking to the side. And the way to look at cholesterol is actually not bad for you. I mean, they talk about good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's just when you have too much of it. An example is like if you're looking at your blood vessels, and you had, like let's say your cholesterol is like emergency vehicles, firefighter trucks and ambulances and all this great stuff. So if you have a superhighway and you got your ambulances and fire trucks going, handling, because you need cholesterol to form testosterone, this is a great thing. The problem is when your endothelia gets destroyed, you have, your blood is getting thicker, getting stuck. It's like we're going to take this superhighway and we're going to cram it into an alleyway. And so now we have constantly firefighter trucks and ambulances going back and forth through an alleyway, causing potholes, hitting each other, causing damages to, the buildings on either side of the alleyway. It just becomes a mess. That's what you're looking to avoid when it comes to getting older. Because if you look at a person who gets old, what's the number one thing you'll notice? They're stiff. They're not popping and locking anymore. They're getting stiff. Why are they getting stiff? Is because the endothelia is leaving. And so without that endothelia, you don't have the flexibility. Things get stuck. Things last longer there. You have more injuries. If you look at like for myself, I do a lot of stretching. First thing in the morning, I have my stretch routine. Before I go to sleep, I have my stretch routine. I have two stretch routines I do. One on one day, the next day, just so I switch it up. But basically, I'm doing all of that because if you look at Ayurvedic medicine, they say the way you tell someone's age is by their flexibility. So it's not just the physical flexibility, it is also your endothelia. If your endothelia is not cooking, well, I'm going to say cooking. If your endothelia isn't fresh, let's say that. If it's not fresh, if it's not sending out that nitric oxide that you need, you're going to get stiff. That's the one thing you want to avoid. One way to see this, I always say this just as a goof, just to have fun. Guys, this is what you do. If you want to encourage yourself to work out, all you have to do is just go over to a buffet, sit in the parking lot and look at some of the old people go in. So they're old, so they're already walking in just a little bit stiff. a little bit stiff. Oh, by the time they walking out, oh man, they got the cane out there. Oh, yeah. That's because they ate a whole bunch of food and is now your body's trying to digest the food. It's going to and causing inflammation. So your joints and everything like that. That's air inside of there. That's basically because the blood is not flowing correctly. So you hear the pop. You feel the inflammation in your hand. Me personally, if I eat certain foods, I start walking. Oh yeah, tighten up. My knees will tighten up in a hot second. If I take in too much salt, I can feel it throughout my legs, where it's like everything feels stiffer. All of this is just what's happening inside of your blood vessels. And does this affect your erections? Of course, because within your penis, the blood vessels are the thinnest in there. So you're talking about one blood platelet at a time. So if your blood flow isn't moving, if your blood is thick, because you don't have the nitric oxide to push it through, or just because of the way you're eating, your blood has gotten thicker, then also you don't have enough water. Because your blood has gotten thicker, it is harder for the blood platelets to go through. Therefore, you're not getting the erection that you want. So, like LJ asked earlier before, how does being in your 40s affect your ability to have an erection just by thought? Yeah, all of this adds up to that. When you do not have that blood flow going through, that nitric oxide pushing it, it becomes a problem. So there we go. Hey guys, we're coming up on a half an hour. Unless you got any questions, go ahead, hit me up in the chat. If you could do me a couple of favors here. One, just to keep this channel going, I like giving out this free information, but a brother got to live. If you would be so kind, you can go ahead and cash up me at Bears 12. And also, if you would, and also we have the super chat, things like that. Take any donations because, hey, I like to give out this information. Also, we do have givegoodwood.com. Yes, this is all a commercial right now. Givegoodwood.com. We have the greatest product over there called Goodwood. All natural liquid aphrodisiac made of 8 different herbs, all natural. It will help your endothelia and your nitric oxide. And also we have Goodwood Advanced for guys who are getting older. So we're able to take care of your testosterone levels. So you keep your testosterone because as your body gets older, it goes through a process called aromatase where it's turning your testosterone into estrogen. You don't want that. That's the reason why we have all of this. So all of that to say, we don't have a bunch of questions today, but we will be back tomorrow. What are we going to be talking about tomorrow? Let me go ahead and pull up the schedule for tomorrow because I know it's a very interesting one. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing these episodes a lot more often just because it's always fun. And I like to, get the feedback, get the information from you guys as to what is going on. So let me know. Oh, here we go. And what do we have for mañana? Let's see. Getting bigger. If you are looking to increase your size. And actually, this is something that I say all the time. It is really important that you understand what, let me not just say penis enlargement, penis enhancement. Those, they are interchangeable. You can enlarge yourself. It is important that you understand how to do that because, as I mentioned before, there's shrinkage over time. If you just don't pay attention, you don't take care of yourself, it is a muscle just like any other part of your body. If you don't know how to take care of it, it's going to get smaller. So we'll be talking about a routine to help you get that going. Yep. Doing cardio will increase blood flow. Definitely. Any movement. I like doing more high intensity interval training. Steady state cardio can be problematic, but only for certain situations. I'd rather you move than not move. So getting on a bike, and especially if you're outdoors, yeah, that's wonderful. It'll actually help you with your sleep, which will help with the endothelia, which will help with your nitric oxide. You see how this all works together? You see how it all works together? So, guys, check me out tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, great question. What foods are rich in zinc? I don't have that off the top of my head. Um, but there are a bunch of them. Unfortunately, I don't have it off the top of my head. I did a video of that though. Go ahead and go into the YouTube channel and just type that in, and I have the whole video explaining all of it to you. And I learned so much, and some of it because when it comes to fruits and vegetables, basically you can just name any of them. It's going to be able to take care of a bunch of different things. The apple is going to take care of a bunch of different things, et cetera, et cetera. So, but great question. Appreciate that. Hey guys, we got the half an hour mark. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow so we can talk about how to handle your size, how to make sure you stay and get even bigger if you want to. There we go. So, all right, this is Uncle B saying, get your game up and go hard. Peace out. Shout out to everybody who joined in. Appreciate you, C. Have a great one. Later on.